everyone, this is Karen from Blue Rooster Farm, and today we're back in the kitchen and we're using up more of the zucchini. I am going to show you how to make a lemon zucchini bundt cake. It is so delicious and I think you're going to love it. So stick around if you want to see how to make it. Well, we're back in the kitchen again, getting ready to make this delicious lemon zucchini bundt cake. And it is so moist and delicious, and I think it will become one of your favorites too. If you're like us, the zucchini crop is in full swing, and we've got tons of it. And of course, we can store it by freezing it, canning it, doing different things like that, drying it. I'm doing some drying of it. But it's so fresh right now that we want to use it and enjoy it. And a lot of these recipes, especially these baked goods, are things that you can go ahead and make and put it in your freezer and then pull out and use and eat them at that time. So the cakes, the loaves of breads, the coffee cakes, all of those can be frozen and then taken out, thawed, and eaten and enjoyed at a different time. I do freeze zucchini in plastic bags, and you don't have to do anything but just shred it and throw it in a plastic bag. But when you do that, when you thaw it separates from the water. And that water is what makes your recipes so moist. So if you're using frozen zucchini, I sometimes wonder if it should just be left frozen when you add it to your ingredients. That way the water is added, or if you just keep the water in there, or if you use, like if I froze 2 cups of zucchini in a plastic bag, because a lot of recipes call for 2 cups, once I take it out, thaw it, and drain it, it's down to like a cup. And so maybe you could just do 4 cups in a bag, and then once it's drained, you'd have the 2 cups of zucchini. What you're going to have is the fiber, though, and not the moisture. So I'm not sure if there is a way of figuring out what to add, how much to add if it's frozen. But I do know the recipes using the fresh zucchini always come out much better. It may be that you just need to add it, crumble it apart when it's frozen and add it to it frozen, and that might work. I haven't tried that, but maybe I will and let you know. But fresh zucchini, using it in your baked goods is really good, and it's much better than using the frozen. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a bundt pan, and I imagine you could use a 13 by 9 pan too. It's really nice to have this as a bundt cake. It travels easily and it's really pretty. When you use a bundt cake pan, you're going to want to make sure you oil or spray it good, and then you're going to want to put flour in and coat it really good and get those crevices, because if you don't do this, you're not going to be able to get your cake out looking nicely. Now, if it's a chocolate bundt cake, instead of using flour, I use cocoa, and that way it doesn't have all the white on it. But be sure you prepare your pan well so that it doesn't have a problem coming out. So I've got that all set and ready to go. I've got my ingredients laid out so that we can just throw them in and get it made quickly. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cream together our butter and our shortening. Now we need a half a cup of butter, and I use real butter. I don't know what it would taste like with margarine, but this is real butter. Then we want to use a half a cup of shortening, and I use lard. And both of these are at room temperature. Not melted, but at room temperature, because we're going to cream them. And so let's lift up, and we've got our paddle on. Now this is something, again, you can use just a regular handheld mixer, or you can do it by hand. It just is going to take a little more effort by hand. So we're just going to cream those two together. Then I'm going to add 1.5 cups of white sugar. We're going to use a package of lemon jello. So we're going to put, with our sugar and our cream mixture, our packet of jello, and this is a 3-ounce packet. This will make it very lemony. And it will give it a really nice yellow color too. So we cream those together. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a tablespoon of lemon juice. Now if you have a fresh lemon, use that. I don't have any today, so I'm just using bottled. 1 tablespoon. Then we're going to add to that 3 eggs, 3 large eggs. And mix that together. And we're going to clean the sides. There we go. I'm going to add a nice big pinch of lemon zest. And I had this left over when I was making my strawberry lemonade for canning, the concentrate. And I also had made some raspberry lemonade concentrate. But I'm actually adding 2 pinches of this zest. I like the zest. If you don't like the zest, don't add it. And we're going to give that a stir. All right. Next, we're going to take our dry ingredients, and we're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And we're going to add to that a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. And this baking soda will work really good with the lemon juice. They react nicely together. Make sure your baking soda doesn't have lumps. Push those out when you are putting it into your flour mixture. We need a teaspoon of baking powder. And you might hear something over at the stove. I've got a canner going. I'm canning some stuff right now, and it's also going to be for a video. So I've got the baking powder. Then I need, that's all I need as far as dry ingredients. Then we're gonna whisk those together. And I was using this whisk the other day and I was trying to remember the name of it. This is a Danish dough whisk, if anybody's interested. And it's wonderful when you have a real thick batter because it will mix it together really nicely. And it's good for things like a zucchini batter. If I were mixing this by hand, this would be perfect to mix it with once you add the zucchini. Okay, so we've got our dry ingredients all together here. We're going to put them in the mixing bowl. And we are going to turn it on very carefully so that we don't have a puff of smoke. And you're going to get a thick batter. Just make sure it's combined. And you've got a very thick batter because we're going to be adding the zucchini, which is going to have a lot of liquid in it. And so it will make that batter looser and it will moisten up the cake. Take the mixer out, or the paddle out. Make sure I get all the stuff off of that. And I'm going to use my fingers because there's a lot of dough on there. And I'll put this in the sink. Okay. Let's give that a stir. Make sure the sides are all cleaned off. We've got a pretty thick dough right there. Almost like a cookie batter. Now it takes 2 cups of zucchini, and as you know, I always add a packed down 2-cup thing, which is probably actually 2.5 cups. That's fine because that'll just make it even more moist. And this batter is pretty dry, so that will help. Just get all the zucchini incorporated evenly in there. Give it a taste. That's good. Okay, we're going to put it in the pan. Okay, we've got that so you can see. And this is a thick batter, so you'll want to make sure you get it layered in there evenly because it won't flow. You want to have your oven set at 325 degrees. I find that Bundt cakes, especially cakes that have a lot of thick batter, take quite a bit of time to cook, and this one takes 65 to 80 minutes, or until you can take a toothpick or a sharp knife and put it in inside the middle part of your bundt cake, and it comes out clean. And it's on a lower level, so that helps keeping it from burning. So 325 is less than the normal temperature for cakes. Usually you bake at 350. So they do that to just encourage it to get cooked all the way through without burning. Okay. So I think I have everything ready. And I'm just smoothing it down, making sure that I don't have any spots that are higher than others. And it's in the grooves. Okay, my oven's already preheated, so I'm going to go place this in the oven. I'll bring you back when it's done. I have just removed it from the oven. I'm hoping I didn't overcook it. We are getting ready to have thunderstorms, and I ran out to the garden to get corn and onions and peppers and tomatoes and a few things for dinner tonight, and some herbs. And when I came back in, it had been dinging, and I know that it probably was dinging for quite some time, maybe 10 minutes. So hopefully it's not overcooked, but it doesn't look too dark or anything like that. And hopefully the zucchini will keep it nice and moist. But I'll bring you back when we cut into it, and I'll let it set here probably for about 20-25 minutes, and then I'll turn it out into a plate. With the bundt cake, you always want to have it to be a little bit warm still, because you want it to slide out of the pan easily. If it's cold, it doesn't always come out as easily. So I'll do that while it's still warm. All right, see you in a bit. Well, the cake is all done. I have glazed it with lemon glaze that consists of about 1.5 cups of powdered sugar and about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, either fresh lemon juice or the kind in a bottle would be fine too. Just make it to the consistency that it will drizzle nicely on the cake. The cake was completely cooled when I drizzled it, so make sure it's cooled down. So we're going to cut into this and just see if we over baked it or not. Let's see, maybe we'll go right here. And I'm holding the camera and cutting at the same time, so it's a little tricky. And then let's see if I can do this one-handed. Take a look at it. Okay, you can see the zucchini pieces and a few of the little lemon zest pieces. Okay, let me give it a try. I'll turn the camera around and give it a try. All right, let's see what it tastes like. I'll get a little of the icing and a little of the cake. I can keep it on the fork. The icing has a real zip to it. The cake is really moist, really moist. And I wanted to taste it without the icing so I could taste the lemon flavor in the cake. And it has a nice, not overwhelming lemon taste, but just the right amount of lemon. It tastes really good. So we didn't overbake it. It's still very, very moist. This cake should freeze really, really well. And so I could take half of this cake and wrap it up and put it in the freezer, and we could be able to pull it out and enjoy it another time as well. Really, really good. So I hope you give this recipe a try. If you're looking for a really good lemon bundt cake, here it is. Hey friends, if you like what you're seeing, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that.
Also, don't forget, like and share and leave a comment. Thanks for watching.